Yo, yo, what is happening? We've got another story here on Reddit, assertiveness training. I'm pretty active on these two threads here, assertiveness training and people pleasers. And I seem to help people, and so I thought I'd share some of these stories while maintaining anonymity for the people in them. So let's go over this one. How would you handle this situation? I went to a dispensary and the bud tender that served me is a loudmouth a-hole. I went to get some cash on the ATM, and on my walk to the transaction, this guy said, "Come on, man, hurry up, put some pep in your step." At that moment, I didn't take offense, but I just walked at the same pace. When I got there, I ignored it and continued the transaction with no issues. But after I got back to my car, I thought about it, and it pissed me off. I should have walked to him and asked him, "Who the fuck do you think you're talking to? Is this how you talk to customers?" Big regret now. Let me know what y'all would have done. Okay, so we're going to cover the regret. Because we can all relate to that. We're going to cover the sort of aggression that we're going to do nothing about. We can all relate to that. And then we're going to go over this part here too. At the moment, I didn't take offense. So, but first we're going to talk about the anti-pathological way that I understand assertiveness that is in comparison to in comparison to the passive-aggressive model. Oh gosh, what did I do now? All right, here we go. So let's go into the two intelligences. I'll tell you a quick story about Susie. Susie is a little girl. She's, let's say, 2 years old. She's in a high chair. She wants juice. This is what she desires. This is her own personal desire. Let's get that down. She has her own personal desire. And so what does a 2-year-old say when they want something? They go, "Mommy, juice!" Right? She's stuck in her high chair. Mum comes into the room, or from across the kitchen or whatever, and she says, what does she say? She says, "Susie, when we want something, we say please, and if we get it, we say thank you." So repeat back to me. You know, "Mummy, may I please have some juice?" Susie says, "Mummy, please have some juice." Mummy gets the juice. What do you say, Susie? "Thank you, Mummy." All right. So Susie has the desire. 2-year-olds are really good at expressing this. That's why it's called the terrible twos. They're exploring that passion, that desire, that greedy part of ourselves. Mum represents the tribal rules. Mum has all the wisdom of the tribe and the rules around self-expression for the tribe. If you break down most opportunities to be assertive, it really is just, you know, a more complex set of manners that can sort of accommodate your desire for what it is that you want. So it can be that simple if you break it down, but it's also gets complex as we get older because there's so many different implicit rules that we don't talk about. So we have these two competing intelligences. We have the tribal rules and we have the desire. So let's talk about the regret here. So big regret. So regret is a great thing. If you didn't have it, you wouldn't know that you had an opportunity to be assertive earlier. So regret or resentment are an indicator that you could have been assertive earlier, because we replay it in our minds and we do exactly what's going on here. How many, like, give me a like if you can relate to, you know, handling a situation and then getting to your car or getting away from the person and getting pissed off and wishing that you sort of fantasize about beating the crap out of this person or, you know, telling them off or whatever. We've all done this. Who the fuck do you think you're talking to? Is this how you treat your customers? Right? So we've all done this. It's very relatable. But what they did instead is they followed the rules around compliant, polite, social interaction. At the moment, I didn't take offense. I just walked at the same pace. Then I got there, I ignored it, and I continued the transaction with no issues. Okay? So this person practiced restraint and politeness, and this person here did not. This person stepped outside of the tribal rules, and this person did not, and when there was no justice about it, they got really pissed off. which is a perfectly reasonable way to feel. Now, how would I have handled this? Well, I take the 3-step approach, right? So number 1, find common ground. Number 2, state your desire. And number 3, make a request. So the first step is we have a common ground of knowing that, hey, right now I'm walking how fast I want to walk. I'm walking exactly as fast as I need to walk and how fast I want to walk. Okay? The desire, what I'd like is if you respected how fast I wanted to walk. And then number 3, make a request. Will you do that? Now, if somebody asked the reason that we make this is because it's easy for people pleasers to do, to make a request, to state a very small thing, and to find common ground. These are all things that we can all do. And in fact, people pleasers and people who need assertiveness training are very good. They're perfectly attuned to finding common ground. That's what agreeability is. So you find common ground, you state your desire, and then you make a request. You don't always know your desire because you've probably buried it under that, here's your tribal rules and here's your desire. And you might not have conscious access to it at this point, but you probably want something that's the opposite of what's happening now. Okay, so if somebody's telling you to hurry up, you would like it if they didn't do that. If there are clothes on the floor, you would like that the clothes were off the floor. If somebody's running through, a business, then you probably want them to walk. So it's not always, but it's an approximation to say that probably want the opposite of what's happening now if your boundaries are being violated. We need these little tools because we don't always have conscious access to our desire. But that gets better the more that you speak these out loud. So I would have said, hey, right now I'm walking how fast I want to walk. What I'd like is you just left me alone. Will you do that? And then, if they're going to disagree with that, then they're going to know that they're an asshole because they're not agreeing to leave you alone. And secondly, it allows you to look back on the interaction later when we are bound to have some sort of astonishment or regret, and we can go, all I asked this guy is that he treat me with respect. That's all I asked. That is not a big ask. I'm not asking too much. He's wrong, right? That's what we're doing this for. So we do a very small request. So we've got the 2 intelligences. We've got the regret. I want to talk a little bit about status. A lot of times, because status is a desire, and when your status is demeaned, you kind of want to get back at them because that is a way to achieve status, right? I think it's, who's the crazy entrepreneur guy? Starts with a V, Vaynerchuk. He says there's 2 ways to have the biggest building in town. Number 1 is to build the biggest building in town. The second way is to destroy all the buildings around your building so that you have the biggest building in town. Now, the budtender here at this dispensary wants to destroy everyone, demean status for whatever reason. Maybe he needed to go to the bathroom, whatever, I don't know. But he's offended this person's status by breaking the tribal rules around common politeness. And so they're breaking things down. Now, when you fantasize about saying, who the fuck do you think you're talking to? Is this how you talk to your customers? You're also fantasizing about breaking them down so that they feel better, right? So that you feel better. I want to demean your status so that my status is higher than yours. Alternatively, the high road is to say, just to follow the tribal rules, right? Don't fall down with them. Don't break the tribal rules by swearing at them, but continue to be yourself and your agreeable, polite, kind demeanor, but also strong, right? Incorporate strength to say, hey, this is what's happening. This is what I want. Will you do that? Will you follow the normal rules of common courtesy without being demeaning, without being condescending? Just a normal, small ask, and then your building is higher than theirs, and they might actually grow with you and go, hey, you know, my bad, I'm sorry. That's perfectly acceptable. My apologies. That's what you're going for. You don't want to dunk on people, because this ain't Twitter. You want to build people up around you if you want to take a leadership position and lead these people towards a better community. So that's it for me. If you have your own circumstance that you want to talk over, or if you have any questions or comments, or if you can relate to any of this, give me a like, subscribe, and we'll talk soon. Cheers.